Good morning, America. Dangerous heat and wildfires. The National Guard now armed on the streets of D.C. And Andy Roddick is here for a Grand Slam Monday. Wildfires in the west. One in Napa Valley forces evacuations, scorching thousands of acres. The sky turned burnt orange. The fire in Oregon explodes in size. Now more than 22,000 acres with 0% containment, forcing families to flee from their homes. All fueled by the extreme heat, putting more than 12 million Americans on alert. Ginger tracking it all.
President Trump threatening to send National Guard troops into more Democratic-run cities. The Pentagon creating a plan to potentially send troops to Chicago. Mayors and governors lashing out, while more than 2,200 National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. are now armed.
New fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein case after the Trump administration released audio of the interview with his convicted co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell.
There's no list. There's never been a list.
What she said about President Trump and the reaction from families of Epstein victims.
What's next for the Menendez brothers after Eric and Lyle were denied parole? What their lawyer is saying this morning.
The reported deal that could put a jolt in your morning coffee. The details this morning.
Weight loss medications and cancer risk. The new study on popular GLP-1 drugs, where it helped reduce the risk.
We have a lot to get to this morning, including the American Airlines flight that was forced to make an emergency landing after a passenger's device reportedly caught fire just as Labor Day travel is set to take off.
Also ahead, Kilmer Abrego Garcia, the man who was mistakenly sent to a notorious prison in El Salvador, now facing deportation by the Trump administration again. Pierre Thomas will have the latest on that.
We're going to begin with the extreme heat and wildfires in the west that are forcing evacuations. Ginger's in Los Angeles with the latest. Good morning, Ginger.
George, good morning. We spent the weekend in extreme heat warnings here in Los Angeles, but now the focus is on the heat in the Pacific Northwest and far northern California, where we saw daily records tied or broken from Mount Shasta to Eugene, Oregon to Olympia, Washington. And now the focus is on that unstable fire weather.
This morning, more than 12 million Americans are on alert for extreme heat, which is helping to fuel dangerous fires. In Northern California, Napa County officials issuing evacuation orders and declaring a local emergency as the picket fire spreads.
The biggest issue has been the wind, and we're starting to see those winds pick up a little bit.
7,000 acres have already burned, only 11% of the blaze contained. The firefight coming from all angles.
Helicopters dropping water on the flames.
Bulldozers clearing brush, hoping to make a fire line. Smoke from the fire turning skies orange. In Central Oregon, 90-degree high temps are expected, where the flat fire exploded in size over the weekend. Now, more than 22,000 acres with 0% contained. The flat fire forcing families to flee from their homes. So far, 10 structures destroyed and thousands more threatened. And at the Burning Man Festival in Nevada, an apocalyptic scene. A dust storm tearing through the grounds, winds gusting up to 50 miles per hour. People unable to see more than a foot in front of them.
There are red flag warnings in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, so right up and down the Cascades there and into some of the valleys. That means that the relative humidity is so low, and you'll see some gusty winds. You could even see a thunderstorm, that type where lightning can start a flame, or the wind can kind of gust out and make the wildfire really erratic, but then doesn't come with enough rain. We will start to see a cool down by Wednesday, but look what happens today. Daily records from Spokane back to Yakima that could go to 100. Those extreme heat warnings still in place for Medford, the heat advisories into Idaho, and look through the rest of today and tomorrow, very hot, and then by Wednesday, things start to cool down from Seattle to Medford and Boise too. George?
Okay, Ginger, we'll come back to you later. We're going to turn now to President Trump, threatening to ramp up his deployment of National Guard troops that began in Washington, D.C., where some units are now carrying firearms. The president says he's also considering sending troops to other cities, including Chicago. Democratic leaders are objecting. Jay O'Brien is at the White House tracking the latest. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, George. It's been exactly 2 weeks now since President Trump declared what he called a crime emergency here in Washington, D.C., surging National Guard troops. He's since called that operation a test, and we're learning this morning the president is threatening to expand his focus to several other Democratic-run cities. This morning, more than 2,200 National Guard troops in the nation's capital now armed.
Many seen overnight carrying service-issue pistols, others armed with M4 rifles, all part of what President Trump is calling a crackdown on crime in Washington, D.C. This despite violent crime in the district falling to a 30-year low, down 26% since last year. And now a U.S. official telling ABC News planning is underway to potentially duplicate Trump's mobilization in D.C. and send troops into Chicago. No official deployment has been ordered, and the Department of Defense declined to speculate on future operations. But Trump suggesting just days ago he could expand his focus from D.C. to other Democratic-run cities.
So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York.
A spokesperson for New York Governor Kathy Hochul telling ABC News Trump's attempts to invoke military power undermines work being done in her state that has already brought down crime. And Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker blasting Trump's threat, saying the president is attempting to manufacture a crisis. Chicago's mayor pointing out homicides, shootings, and robberies are all down since last year.
The city of Chicago does not need a military occupation.
The president also setting his sights on another Democratic governor, Maryland's Wes Moore, after Moore touted violence falling in Baltimore and told the president, quote, "If you are not willing to walk our communities, keep our name out of your mouth." Trump lashing out, writing, "If Wes Moore needs help, I will send in the troops," which is being done in nearby D.C. and quickly clean up the crime. But this year, Baltimore is also seeing a double-digit decrease in gun violence, homicides, and shootings. Moore calling the president's threat unconstitutional and a scare tactic.
For a party that talks about state rights, it's amazing how they're having such a big government approach in the way they're conducting public safety.
Now, President Trump has more power over D.C. because it's a federal district than he does anywhere else. In other states, it's the governor that is typically in control of the National Guard. Remember, California is still suing the Trump administration after the president deployed National Guard troops and active duty Marines to Los Angeles this summer. George.
And Jay, the president continuing his purge of high-level military officers.
Yeah, that's exactly right, George. Air Force Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz has been fired as the head of what's called the Defense Intelligence Agency. That's the same agency that drew the president's ire when it compiled an early intelligence assessment that contradicted what the president and other top administration officials had said, that they had, quote, obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities in those 3 bombings in June. The Pentagon not giving a reason as to why Cruz was ousted, but he's just the latest top Pentagon official to be pushed out since President Trump took office, including the former chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown. George.
Jay O'Brien. Thanks, Rebecca.
All right, George, thank you. We turn now to the latest on the Jeffrey Epstein case. The government has released audio of an interview a top prosecutor conducted with Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving a lengthy prison term. Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, is here with that story. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning, Rebecca. Maxwell has made no secret she wants out of prison. And in her interview, she said allegations against her were false, President Trump did nothing wrong, and conspiracy theories pushed by some of his appointees are bogus. This morning, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell is heard saying she witnessed no inappropriate behavior by any of his powerful friends, from Bill Clinton to Donald Trump, and telling the Justice Department Epstein's long-rumored list of famous clients does not exist.
There's no list. There's never been a list.
And you never heard Mr. Epstein talk about such a list?
Never.
Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking minors. In her highly unusual 2-day meeting last month with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, the country's second highest-ranking law enforcement official and President Trump's former personal attorney, Maxwell said she saw no concerning conduct by Trump.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
She also called former President Clinton, who also had past associations with Epstein, truly extraordinary. And despite Trump's claim Clinton visited Epstein's private Caribbean island more than 20 times, Maxwell said it isn't true.
You're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island?
He absolutely never went, and I can be sure of that, because there's no way he would have gone. I don't believe there's any way that he would have gone to the island had I not been there, because I don't believe he had an independent friendship, if you will, with Epstein.
The 63-year-old also claims she never connected Epstein with underage girls, despite her 2021 conviction.
I did introduce him to women I did, but not underage women.
Epstein victim Annie Farmer, who testified against Maxwell, says otherwise.
She didn't just procure girls and women for Epstein, but she herself participated in their abuse.
Long before Maxwell initiated the meeting with the Justice Department, federal prosecutors said she lied about her crimes and failed to accept responsibility. Now, President Trump has refused to rule out a pardon as he seeks to defuse an outcry by some of his own supporters over his administration's failure to release more information about Epstein.
There have been no asks and no promises, and nothing like that has been made.
The family of Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre says they're outraged. The Justice Department gave Ghislaine Maxwell what they call a platform to rewrite history. Audio of the interview was made public as the Justice Department turned over Epstein material to the House Oversight Committee. But Rachel, the ranking Democrat on that committee, said the material consisted of largely information already made public. Rachel.
Yeah, Democrats calling that incomplete. All right, Aaron Katursky, thank you. Turning overseas now to the Middle East, Israeli forces are moving in on Gaza City as a UN-backed report warns of famine in the area impacting hundreds of thousands of people. Our chief international correspondent, James Longman, is tracking the latest. And James, overnight, we learned reports of Israeli strikes killing over a dozen, including journalists.
Yeah, that's right, Rachel. Israeli airstrikes on a hospital in southern Gaza have killed at least 4 journalists. Video shows the 4th floor of the Nasser hospital targeted, and when ambulance crews and reporters arrive, another strike hits. Hamas says more than a dozen people have been killed. Israel says they regret any harm to uninvolved individuals. 2 weeks ago, an Israeli strike killed 6 journalists outside a different hospital, and the Committee to Protect Journalists accuses Israel of deliberately targeting reporters and camera operators to stop information from leaving Gaza, although Israel says it does not intentionally kill journalists. This is as the IDF is ramping up its preparations for a military occupation of Gaza City. Airstrikes and tank fire targeted the city this morning. Benjamin Netanyahu says the takeover is needed to defeat Hamas and release the remaining hostages. But humanitarian groups say it would be catastrophic for the 500,000 people who've taken refuge there. On Friday, a famine in the city was confirmed by the Global Monitor for Food Security. That's a finding Israel rejects. George.
Okay, James, thanks very much. We're going to get the latest now. And Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man who was wrongly deported to El Salvador and returned to the U.S. Trump administration now says it plans to deport him again. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas is tracking the case. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. Abrego Garcia has just been taken into custody again after being ordered by ICE to report to his Baltimore offices. His lawyers announcing that he is being processed and sent to an unknown detention center. The attorneys say that they have filed an emergency lawsuit to block his detention and potential deportation. The Trump administration had told Abrego Garcia to plead guilty to human smuggling charges and be deported to Costa Rica. The government said if he rejected that deal, he might be deported to Uganda. His deportation battle has been a flashpoint in the debate over Trump's immigration policy ever since he was mistakenly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador. The government claiming that the Salvadoran national is a violent domestic offender and MS-13 gang member who has helped smuggle undocumented migrants into this country. But his attorneys claim that the government has little evidence to prove those claims and that he's been unjustly vilified. Rachel?
All right, Pierre, thank you. Now to potential problems for international shippers. Postal services around the world say they're suspending some deliveries to the United States after the Trump administration ended a long-standing tax exemption. So let's go back to our Jay O'Brien. He's at the White House. And Jay, this could lead to some delays.
Yeah, Rachel, we're also tracking new headaches this morning for American consumers after a chorus of mail carriers abroad, from DHL's German service to private and public post offices in countries like the UK and India and South Korea, said that they would pause some or all U.S.-bound shipments. And it's just the latest in what's expected to be this long series of fallout from the president's executive order getting rid of this key lesser-known trade exemption that's officially called the de minimis rule. It allows for products less than $800 in value to come into the United States without being taxed. And the government said that that was unfair to U.S. manufacturers and created a loophole for low-quality products and even narcotics to come into the country. But without it, prices on this wide swath of U.S. imports, including on low-cost fast fashion brands like Temu and Shein, are expected to go up. This rule has in some form or fashion been in place since the 1930s, but it will now end on Friday. And while those dozens of international mail carriers say that they will at least temporarily suspend U.S.-bound shipments as they try to a deal with the fallout from this rule. Major international carriers like DHL, FedEx, and UPS saying that their shipments will not be paused. Rebecca.
All right, well, at least that's good to hear. Jay, thank you. We're going to turn now to your Labor Day sales strategy with the holiday weekend coming right up. Lara's here with what you should be looking at buying, including some back-to-school deals. Hi, Lara.
There are some good deals out there, and good morning to you all. And we know Labor Day signals the end of summer, but one silver lining is always those massive sales that you can find in brick and mortar stores and online. However, there is a little bit of uncertainty this year as we head into Labor Day sales week in light of tariffs. Retailers are experiencing higher costs that could mean less of those monster deals that people can usually find during these sales. But traditionally, you should be able to find the best deals on the following items and categories: mattresses, appliances, furniture, and in the home improvement category, specifically on tools. Summer inventory should all be on sale by now, with some retailers slashing prices, and I can tell you this personally, up to 60% off. On the flip side, there are some products you should probably wait to buy, according to our consumer team. The best deals on electronics, including TVs, tend to happen around Black Friday and Cyber Monday, guys.
So it pays to wait there. We're definitely thinking back to school supplies in our house, and you found some deals there.
We did indeed, and they are like, you can find things at Walmart and Target for under $1.
That's good for us.
Yep.
Can't beat that.
Thanks, Lara.
All right, thanks very much. Coming up, Trevor Ault has the latest on the Menendez brothers. Hey, Trevor.
Hey, George, after spending 30-plus years behind bars, both brothers lost their bids for early release. Their lawyer calls it an abomination, and what he's telling GMA about their continued fight. That's coming up.
All right, Trevor, thank you. And Will Reeve is here with something you will see first only on GMA. Will?
That's right, Rebecca. They've been ubiquitous on NFL sidelines for decades. The chain gang measuring yardage that could have a major impact on the game, but now tech called Hawkeye will watch over these close calls, and we have a first inside look.
And Dr. Darian Sutton is here to break down the new study on weight loss drugs and cancer risk.
What about Andy Roddick, Lara?
So excited. Silent cheer.
We'll be right back.
What a point. Welcome back to GMA. That is American Ben Shelton at the Open, letting the crowd know it's okay to cheer when he gets it done like that. Ben won his first round match against Peru's Ignacio Busey. The Americans, they had a great first day at the Open. We're so happy about that, and so happy that Andy Roddick is here with us this morning, the last American man to win the Open, or any major for that matter.
Wow.
Time to break that streak.
It is. Okay, Lara, we're looking forward to that. First new at 7:30. Russia's top diplomats said over the weekend that no meeting is planned between Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's President Zelensky, even though President Trump said last week that a meeting between the two leaders was in the works. Vice President Vance said on Sunday, denied that Russia was stringing the U.S. along, while admitting that President Trump has been very frustrated with the Russians. Also, the EPA is taking over as the lead agency in the explosion at a Louisiana plant. The explosion sent flames and smoke into the air. No injuries have been reported, but an evacuation order remains in place.
Also, the Wall Street Journal reports that Keurig and Dr. Pepper, yes, those two did merge, is close to a roughly $18 billion deal for European coffee giant JDE Peet's. The report says the company plans to separate its beverage and coffee divisions, undoing that 2018 merger that brought Dr. Pepper and Keurig together. The deal has not been finalized. If it goes through, it could give a boost to the U.S. company's struggling coffee business. And Tommy Fleetwood has been a professional golfer for the last 15 years. He has competed in 164 tournaments, but he never won the PGA Tour Championship until now, winning the FedEx Cup and $10 million. Tiger Woods posting, "Your journey is a reminder that hard work, resilience, and heart do pay off. No one deserves it more." Fleetwood saying it's easy for anybody to say they're resilient, they bounce back, they have to fight. It's different when you actually have to prove it. 164.
Yeah, what was so amazing is how well he was doing, even without ever winning a tournament, always in the top 10.
Yeah, never won. Nicest guy, and what a tournament to win, because I was going to say
$10 million.
It's not a jackpot, it's a prize. But
it is a jackpot.
He picked a good one. He picked a good one to finally do it. Congratulations.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Incredible.
We're going to switch gears now, go to the setback for the Menendez brothers, who were denied parole in their first attempt, upending their recent bid for release after more than 3 decades behind bars. Trevor Ault is in Los Angeles with the latest. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, George. Yes, so they've already served decades in prison, but the parole board believes Eric and Lyle Menendez are still too dangerous to re-enter society. Well, we're now hearing from their attorney, who says this fight for freedom is still far from over.
After a pair of marathon hearings, this morning the Menendez brothers will both remain in prison for the foreseeable future. Eric and Lyle each had their petitions for early release denied, their attorney now vowing to have what he calls their unjust convictions and unjust parole action overturned.
Every living member of their family wants them out. Nobody seriously believes they're a threat to public safety. Enough's enough.
The brothers have already served 36 years in prison for the murders of their parents in their Beverly Hills home. In Eric's hearing Thursday, the board noted the brutality of the killings, as well as Eric's use of contraband cell phones behind bars.
You have violence, you have manipulation, you have misuse of things, you have criminal acts, you have substance abuse. Fair enough?
Absolutely true.
And Friday, while Lyle was commended for being a model inmate, the parole board said he still showed antisocial personality traits like deception, minimization, and rule breaking that lie beneath that positive surface, citing his lies to initially attempt covering up the murders.
What's the problem? Someone killed my parents. Pardon me? Someone killed my parents.
Well over a dozen family members spoke at the hearings in favor of the brothers' release, saying in a statement about the decision to deny their parole, "While we are of course disappointed, we are not discouraged."
What's next for them? We'll probably put it both to the governor, who has the constitutional authority to reverse this abomination, or we'll put it in front of a Superior Court judge and let them decide whether or not they think this process was fair. I've been doing this for over 40 years. This was not a fair proceeding. It violated due process, and it was an outrage.
The Menendez brothers can apply for parole again in 3 years, although with good behavior in prison, that wait can potentially be shortened to 18 months.
For the Menendez brothers, there's a number of ways that they can get out. There's still a habeas corpus petition, and also there could be something that Governor Newsom sees within this case that he believes the brothers should get some sort of clemency. So being on their best behavior is probably the best option.
Now, it is generally considered very uncommon for any prisoner to be granted parole at their first hearing, but the Menendez brothers' attorney says he still wants them to have an entirely new trial on the original murder charges. Guys.
Just so many twists and turns in this story. All right, Trevor, thank you. We're going to turn now to a first on GMA this morning. New camera technology for the new NFL season. Will Reeve is here to show us how Sony's Hawkeye system works. So you really have to see this, Will. It's interesting.
It is. Good morning, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. If using the refs as a scapegoat for your team's misfortune is your thing, you will still be able to do that. But starting this year in the NFL, you can't blame the chain gang because their job will primarily be done by cutting-edge technology.
We're going to have a measurement, and they don't get it. Philadelphia Eagles defense wins the battle.
When the 2025 NFL season kicks off in less than 2 weeks, a revolutionary technology will be making its regular season debut.
Can he put a card in between it?
They stretch it out. No. Oh, it's an inch and a half short.
Out goes the chain gang, the sideline officials who rush onto the field with a 10-yard chain used to determine whether a team gained a first down. And in comes Hawkeye, the virtual measurement system from Sony.
Give us a brief overview of what this technology is and does.
So virtual measurement is 6 8K cameras in every NFL stadium that measure where the static ball is on the field. So once a ball has been placed by the official on the field, we can determine whether that ball has or hasn't passed the line to gain.
This technology was tested in the background of all games last year, so preseason through all the whole season and the postseason.
GMA getting an all-access look at the tech, including a rare glimpse inside the instant replay booth to see how Hawkeye will be applied in real time.
We work very closely with the NFL to design this. Everything's obviously controlled through here and touch screens.
Here's how it works. Once the ref spots the ball after a close play, the operator zooms in on that ball to confirm its location. The Sony Hawkeye then cuts back to the ball's position before the play began and recreates a virtual measurement for viewers.
And this will come down to the spot as well.
And the NFL is getting used to it. The tech tested out during week 2 of the preseason.
Well, here it is, everybody. Here it is. Looks like it's going to be short.
Oh, it's short.
Is there a deliberate effort from the NFL to make games go by faster?
I think there's always an effort to have less interruption to the game and to the action.
Do you expect there to be any pushback from fans who like things just the way they were?
There's going to be traditionalists here that maybe miss the reveal of the chains or the nuances of seeing people come onto the field. But I think our goal is always to make this as efficient, objective, and accurate as possible to aid those officials on the field, not, take away anything from their job.
Now, this technology is a huge leap forward to make everything more precise and accurate, and the logical endpoint is the tech evolving so that determining where exactly a player went down is measurable instead of having to rely on a human official who makes an educated guess as to where to spot the ball before Sony Hawkeye can then be applied to make its measurement. And guys, the chain gang will still exist, but more in a backup role.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so they'll still be there, but it's all about the Hawkeye.
I really like the chain gang.
It's good to have that human interaction, you know?
Yep. You'll still have it, but now it'll be more precise
suspenseful.
measurement from the tech.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. GMA Health Alert on popular GLP-1 weight loss medications. A new report finds their potential for reducing cancer risk. And our medical correspondent, Dr. Darian Sutton, is here with the details. So break down what they found.
Good morning. So we've talked a lot about the risk of obesity and the risk of cancer and the relationship with GLP-1 medications. What makes this study so important is that this is one of the widest ranges, largest scale, and long-term studies to date that shows a connection between GLP-1 medications, the class that includes the injectable weight loss options like Ozempic and Wegovy, and a reduced risk of cancer. I want to put some of these details into perspective. So this is a large study looking back nearly a decade, over 85,000 participants, all of whom were either overweight or obese, and it found that the use of GLP-1 medications was associated with a 17% reduced risk of cancer. Now, George, more notable, there are certain cancers that saw larger reductions. For example, endometrial cancer or cancer of the uterus, meningioma or cancer of the brain, as well as ovarian cancer. So it's really helping us to understand how these medications play into the larger landscape of prevention.
On the flip side, is there a downside? Was there an increased cancer risk anywhere?
Really important question. So they looked at many different types of cancer, and there was one type of cancer that saw an increase with those who used GLP medications, specifically kidney cancer. But Rebecca, if you looked more closely into these statistics, it wasn't statistically significant. So that means that likely is more up to a random chance. If this study were to be duplicated, we might not see that result, but a larger study might help to answer that question.
A lot of people are calling this study encouraging, but what exactly is driving these results? Is it the weight loss or is it the medication?
That's the big question. We know that obesity is related to cancer, and we know that weight loss, regardless of what intervention is chosen, can reduce certain cancer risks. And we also know that these medications are powerful, up to 15 to 20% of weight loss. We know on average, those who use only lifestyle interventions, only about 10% of weight loss. So sometimes this is more than double of that benefit. And there's also scientists that believe that there's a direct effect, reducing inflammation, improving sensitivity to hormones. Probably a combination of all of these things. We'll have to continue to follow these studies to understand how exactly this is all changing up for the future.
Yeah, still relatively new. Needs a little bit more time.
More time, more data, longer studies.
Dr. Darian Sutton, thank you. Always a pleasure. All right, going over now to Lara with our play of the day.
Yeah, a lot of action, not a lot of time, so I'm going to get right to it. The U.S. Open kicked off yesterday right here in New York City, and at least on the men's side, it didn't take long to get heated. The match everyone's talking about this morning, Russia's Daniil Medvedev taking on France's Benjamin Bonzi in round one. Bonzi controlling the match, and when it appeared like it was about to be over, a photographer jumped the gun. He ran onto the court trying to get that winning shot of Bonzi, who was serving for match point. The chair umpire called for the first serve to be played again. Well, that set Medvedev off, as you can see there. He's slightly irritated. I used the word he spoke to the umpire, but he did a little bit more. And then, as you can see, he eggs on the crowd. He caused a 6-minute delay in play of game because the crowd got so riled up. Bonzi ended up serving, though, to win the match. Ooh. Medvedev, as you can see, slightly frustrated, and his poor racket completely smashed. It was a 4-hour match, guys. Meanwhile, I will say the Americans are looking calm, cool, and collected in their first-round matches. Ben Shelton won in straight sets. Taylor Fritz did it in 3, so both men move on. And on the women's side, Jessica Pegula beat Egyptian Mayar Sharif in straight sets in her first-round match. Guys, day 2 of the U.S. Open coverage begins at 11:30 Eastern on ESPN, and it is fun.
I can't wait.
Get over what he was doing to that racket.
Yeah.
Slightly irritated.
Slightly, yeah. I was trying to use gentle terms, but he was upset.
Yes. Andy Roddick's coming up.
Yes.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Wildfires in the West.
A fire in Napa Valley forces evacuations, scorching thousands of acres. The sky turned to burnt orange. The fire in Oregon explodes in size, now more than 22,000 acres with 0% containment, forcing families to flee from their homes. All fueled by the extreme heat, putting more than 12 million Americans on alert, Ginger tracking it all. The new wave of energy generation. Ginger live in Los Angeles with an exclusive first look at the nation's first onshore wave energy site, how it harnesses the power of the ocean.
Plus, Kate McKinnon and Andy Samberg are crashing our studio.
I sense trouble.
The hilarious SNL alums are caught in the middle of all the chaos in the Roses.
Wow.
And Sweet Home Chicago. This morning, we're in the Windy City celebrating the program that uplifts young people and their families, and a hometown hero making the city a better place. With a big surprise for him, as we say,
Good morning, America!
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Monday. Good morning, America.
We are saying good morning to Chicago as well. Good morning to all of you at home.
And it is a happy Monday morning. Ginger is in Los Angeles, where she'll see them flip the switch, turning on wave energy. It's the first of its kind in the United States, and of course, it's a GMA exclusive.
Some remarkable new technology there. Also ahead, the Cracker Barrel backlash, why some fans of the chain are up in arms about the loss of the old-fashioned look and how it's affecting the company's stock.
That's coming up. First look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with the extreme heat and wildfires that are forcing evacuations in the West. Let's go back to Ginger in Los Angeles. Good morning, Ginger.
Yes, here, George, in Los Angeles, we spent the weekend with extreme heat warnings, but now the heat and the fire danger is really focused north of us in Oregon and Washington state, right along the California state line. You see where that fire, the flat fire, has burned more than 22,000 acres. It really exploded over the weekend. They've got it only 0% containment. There are evacuations, and there are hundreds of structures threatened. Also, wanted to show you this from Burning Man. Big time winds, gusts of 50 miles per hour. Visibility was near zero, as you can see there. So there's a lot going on in this part of the country, and we'll focus in on the red flag warnings. That's where it's driest, hottest, that fuel going to burn pretty quickly, and also gusty conditions from Mount Shasta right up through the Cascades into Washington state. Now, things are going to be hot today and tomorrow. We could even see more daily records fall from Spokane back to Yakima. Heat advisories and extreme heat warnings from Eugene and Seattle to Medford. But then by Wednesday, things will start to cool down. So we are going to see some improvement in those numbers, like Seattle dropping below 80 degrees. Rachel?
A little relief out west. All right, Ginger, thanks. Now to a mid-air scare just as travelers are gearing up for the holiday rush. An American Airlines flight diverted after a passenger's device reportedly burst into flames. Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is here. And Gio, I imagine this set off quite a bit of panic on that flight.
It really did, Rachel, and it's exactly why airlines are concerned about devices. When they catch fire, like you said, it can cause panic, and it caused this emergency landing. So here is what happened. An American Airlines flight was forced to make an emergency landing in the D.C. area after a passenger's device caught fire. One passenger told us she actually started smelling smoke and people were coughing all around her. Then a flight attendant had to jump on her chair to put this out. Now, the flight had 160 passengers on board going from Philly to Phoenix, diverting to Dulles. Flight attendants putting out that blaze with a fire suppressant bag. So important. American Airlines says this in a statement: the device was quickly contained by crew members prior to landing. We apologize to our customers for the inconvenience this caused and thank our crew for their professionalism. Thankfully, the plane landed safely and no one was hurt, Rebecca.
Very thankfully for that, and thankful for that crew. Okay, Gio, thank you. We're going to turn now to Cracker Barrel's new logo, sparking backlash. The iconic restaurant chain stock even took a hit since the recent rebranding, and Becky Worley has the story. Good morning, Becky.
Good morning, Rebecca. Marketing your product with nostalgia can be a double-edged sword. Cracker Barrel, the popular family restaurant chain that plays on Americana, is finding out the hard way that it can be tough to modernize. And with changes that seem to genericize a beloved rural brand, it asks the question, is this another Wall Street move that's made for the executives in the C-suite instead of the customers sitting in the restaurant seats?
So when you just want more, Cracker Barrel has all the more. All the more.
This morning, Cracker Barrel has all the more buzz than it may have wanted. The iconic yellow logo featuring a character called the Old Timer or Uncle Herschel, in place since the 70s, has been replaced with a sleek, minimalistic look. The company's stock taking a hit since the rebrand, and some online aren't happy.
Now we have this minimalist logo down here that just looks so tacky.
A brand can absolutely go too far in trying to become relevant. They can lose all the character, all of the individual elements that make them unique and distinctive and competitively differentiated in market. A lot of times they're trying to go to a hip, young branding agency, and so they'll go to something that ends up feeling really generic, almost soulless. And I think that's what we're seeing with Cracker Barrel.
And it's not just the logo getting a new look. The traditional interior of the restaurant with lattice walls, antiques, and globe lighting is brightening up with more comfortable chairs and a sleeker decor.
Cracker Barrel needs to feel like the Cracker Barrel for today and for tomorrow.
The CEO of the company, appearing on GMA before the new logo was announced, talked about the restaurant's interior redesign.
The soul of Cracker Barrel is not changing. The rocking chairs are still there, the fireplace is there, the peg game, all the things that make Cracker Barrel Cracker Barrel.
But will pressure to bring Uncle Herschel back force a redo on the logo again?
Once you have done a rebrand, you really need to stay the course for two reasons. One is because of cost. A ton of money goes into these rebrands, millions of dollars. And two is because of credibility. If you end up backtracking, you lose credibility in consumers' eyes.
Now, this restaurant is a meal and a family institution for so many. And it may feel like the values of the restaurant are changing, but one thing the CEO points out is the menu's not changing much. In fact, a really big aspect that's remaining, she says, is that the average check at Cracker Barrel is about $15 per person versus the restaurant industry average of $27, and many of those beloved traditions at Cracker Barrel, especially the peg game, they will remain, guys.
I remember Robin confirmed that with the CEO last week.
Thank you, Becky. Coming up on our GMA morning menu, we talked to the U.S. Open with tennis great Andy Roddick. He's going to telling us about the Americans to watch in the Grand Slam tournament.
Also ahead, Lori Bergamotto is here kicking off our series, End of the Summer Glow, all about keeping your healthy skin tone into the fall. This morning, Lori B has great skincare devices.
Plus, my kind of town. Chicago is the latest stop in our series with Will Gans, looking for hometown heroes spreading kindness and lifting up their communities. And Lara is with two very special guests. Hey, Lara.
Yes. Yeah, we're backstage, and here they are. Andy Samberg, Kate McKinnon. You know them, of course, from Saturday Night Live, the Barbie movie, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and now a new movie together. It's called The Roses. It's a remake of one of the great ones, right? Yes! We're going to talk about it coming up on Good Morning America. As you can see, someone here is very excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And welcome back. Big weekend for the hit show Paradise. Sterling K. Brown, you see him right there. He won Best Actor, and the show won Best Drama at the African American Film Critics Association TV Honors. Congratulations to Sterling and Dan Fogelman, who created the show.
Great show. Also, Io Davis, the president of Disney branded television, was honored with the Salute to Excellence Award, given to people, quote, making an indelible impact across television and streaming platforms. She certainly made a huge impact here. Lara, over to you.
Talking about big impacts. All right, we're going to get to our GMA cover story. The U.S. Open singles action now underway here in New York. Joining us with a preview is former U.S. Open champion, Tennis Hall of Famer, our friend Andy Roddick. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for getting up early to do this.
Thanks for having me.
We have a lot to break down. I want to start with yesterday, Daniil Medvedev. You said this is not surprising necessarily, that he can have a moment on the court occasionally.
No, he loses it, and if I was critical, it would be hypocritical. I remember 2019, he had a bunch of meltdowns as we're watching him go crazy. Everyone hated him at the beginning of the tournament. By the end of the tournament, I think everyone appreciated him. This is just Medi being Medi. I never change the channel. I kind of always think it's funny. I don't know if that's right.
Well, clearly the crowd liked it, but do you think that it was unsportsmanlike as we watch him just pummel his racket?
I don't know. What other sport is it unsportsmanlike if you just break your own stuff?
Right.
Like, that's his racket. He can break it if he wants. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, fair point.
Yeah.
Look at that racket. I feel very badly for that. Okay, so you think, listen, it's part of the game and it's part of the theatrics of it.
Here's what I think. I think as long as it's not affecting your opponent, right?
Yeah.
He's having a meltdown on his own time. It's not helping him, right? I think being disrespectful to your opponent or playing games that way, I'm probably a lot more offended than yelling, screaming, and breaking your stuff.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Let's get to the U.S. men. We have some really possible contenders here. It's been a long time. 2003,
Yeah.
You are the last man who has done it. That's a long drought. Could this be the year?
I hope so. Listen, I'm sure they're sick of talking about it. You know, I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sure they're sick of talking about it.
Well, thank you for talking about it.
23 men in the draw, which is crazy. Most in so long. Ben's playing great, won Canada on the way in. Taylor, obviously, the finalist last year. Tommy Paul's been a semifinalist in a slam. Francis has been a semifinalist in a slam. They're getting to the tail end of slams. This is not the same sort of momentum that we were talking about 10 or 12 years ago. It was getting away from us, and I really do think we're gaining on it.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
And the women also look very, very strong, starting with Coco.
Let's be very clear. The women have never stopped winning, right?
Yeah.
With Venus and Serena straight into Coco. The last four slams we've had an American woman represented in the final. Coco winning and Roland Garros, obviously the best thing ever. Madison Keys winning in Australia. Anna Samova, Jess Pegula, defending finalist. 4 out of the top 8 seeds are women. Then you have Emma Navarro at number 10. The women are so strong.
Any predictions
on the
of the U.S. women? Who do you think looks the strongest at this moment?
We'll see. Coco brought in a biomechanics engineer for her serve like 4 days before the tournament. That could go either way, I guess.
Yeah, I've always heard, like, don't change things when you're about to have a big match.
Listen, who am I to tell Coco Gauff what to do?
Exactly.
All she does is
Fair
win.
point.
So I do think Iga Swiatek is the favorite, coming off of Wimbledon, winning in Cincinnati. So I think she's the favorite, but it would surprise no one if we had any one of 5 American women in the final.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss over the 2 big names, Sinner and Alcaraz. Do you feel like we're going to be looking at one of them in the finals for sure?
Yeah, I don't think you would bet a kidney against them being in the final. I mean, they are the best players in the world. They are the favorites. Sinner's record on hard over the last 2 years is almost unmatched in history, this side of Novak Djokovic. Carlos has a little bit of a tough one tonight with Opelka, who's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
If you're Carlos Alcaraz, you don't want to play someone who can take the racket out of your hands. Not saying that Opelka is going to have the upset, but of the 5 unseeded players in the draw, if Carlos had to go through, I don't want to see these 5 first round, Opelka would have been on that list.
Yeah, I saw him playing mixed. He's very, very good. Also very good, your podcast. I love it. I love you're so relaxed. Will you be talking U.S. Open?
We will be on every day on Serve podcast. It's nice of you to listen. It's like you and my 4 cousins that listen. But
no, it's fantastic. You don't have to be. It's tennis. It's funny as anything.
It's been fun. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, we do quick serve shows every single day. We did one before we came over here today, but it's been fun. You can kind of just let it rip and get to talk about the sport I love.
All right, so tune into that, of course. It's called Served. It's great with Andy Roddick. And, of course, you can watch the second day of the first round of the U.S. Open. It starts this morning, 11:30 Eastern on ESPN. Thank you so much for being with us.
Always
great
good
to see you,
with
as
you.
always.
Thank you.
George, let's get to you.
Thank you, guys. We're going to turn now to a GMA exclusive. A first look at the nation's first onshore wave energy site. Ginger's in Los Angeles, where they're about to flip the switch and start generating power with the waves. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, George, it is official. We have just told them to flip the switch, and now we'll watch as Eco Wave Power and Alta Sea's project goes into play. Watch that. Those blue boxes are now going to ride on top of waves and on the ocean water, creating electricity. Now, this is just a small test project, but there's great potential. The Energy Information Administration says that if we were to harness all of the wave energy along our coastlines, we could produce more than 60% of the energy we need, and it would be clean.
We just watched as the power of Hurricane Aaron's waves flooded parts of the East Coast. But what if we could harness that energy and make it into electricity for our homes? Tidal and offshore wave energy projects have been popping up from Scotland to just off the Oregon coast. But this morning, we are giving you an exclusive look at the first onshore wave energy site in the United States.
The floaters are going up and down with the movement of the waves, pushing the hydraulic cylinder, which transmits biodegradable fluid through these pipes into these accumulators. This pressure is going to the hydro motor, and the hydro motor is turning the generator.
And that just goes straight to the grid?
In this pilot, it's not connected to the grid, it's just a proof of concept, but yes, the inverters optimally send it to the grid.
If it's that easy, it's that simple, it's that cost efficient, why isn't it everywhere?
So the major problem is the lack of regulatory frameworks.
At the Port of LA, it took EcoWave and AltaSea 2 years to get all the permits and permissions, but now they have a plan.
The plan is to go 8 miles down the breakers, utilizing the energy of these waves so that they can make enough energy for 60,000 homes.
Compared to solar and wind, waves are much more consistent, and onshore is cheaper and far less invasive than offshore wave energy. But many experts say this technology is not yet efficient or cost effective.
The cost is not only the installation and the maintenance, it's also the environmental impact, the social impact.
Everybody's concerned about noise and marine life.
It's like a little boat. It doesn't actually make noise. It doesn't disturb the marine environment in any way.
We do need more energy. We're seeing the first major increase in electricity demand in almost 2 decades, thanks in part to the draw from data centers for AI.
It has to be a tool in the toolkit. I mean, when you look at the AI numbers, we need everything, and we need it all to be renewable. We have to decarbonize.
EcoWave Power is already operating and putting energy to the grid in Israel and Gibraltar. That's why Ina says she knows the cost, $1.5 million per megawatt, which to us means very little until you say that would be on par with wind, but these would operate at all times because there's almost always waves where they'd be putting them in the big displays. So that's one part of it. But one other fun fact, George, these things operate best when they're 3 to 6 foot waves. But say we have a hurricane and it's too big. Well, they can put them up, sit nice, they can be maintained up there, they can be out of harm's way. Once the waves are above 10 feet, it's a little tough, but they've got that all settled as well.
Oh, that is important. You mentioned this a bit in the piece. What does this mean for marine life around the site?
Right, so the Pacific Northwest National Lab has done extensive research on offshore wave energy, and even there they found minimal to undetectable impact on marine life and on habitat. So this is totally different. Remember, they're using an existing concrete structure that was actually used for oil back in the day, but now they're just putting these boat-like structures on top. So it's no different than a boat floating in a marina. George.
Okay, Ginger, thanks very much.
All right, it is take 2 for our 3-part series, End of Summer Glow, about keeping that healthy look going into the fall. And Lori Bergamotto, our friend, is here to help. Everything here is shoppable. Beginning with this, I walked in this morning, was sitting alone on the mannequin. I thought, tell me more.
Right, when you see this sort of out of context, it can look a little intimidating, right? But so you guys, I want to tell you, now is the time for skincare devices if you've been interested, if you've wanted to try them out, because most of them take anywhere from 2 to 10 weeks to work. So you want to get, if you want to look good in time for the holidays, you know, or family photos or things like that, if you start now, you will get there. And also, you know, it's the end of summer, we've had all that UV exposure, and these have been scientifically proven to help repair damage from UV. So let's get started with the best one out there. This one is from Current Body. It is one of the most innovative masks, you guys. They have a Series 1 and a Series 2. The Series 1 uses 2 red light therapies. One is red light and the other one is near infrared to help you stimulate collagen production and restore any kind of a glow. This one that Rachel's holding here, that's the Series 1. This one's the Series 2, but this one is really good if you, need that glow back. If you want to look sort of well rested, you only need to wear these. Don't we all? I mean, here, that's something we all need here, right? And you only need to wear it for about 10 minutes a day. Another thing, we had a producer her before saying she loves that there's eye protection, because when that red light goes on, you can actually check your emails, you can watch TV, you can actually do things and still get all of the benefits. And these things are really expensive to do in a dermatologist's office. So the at home, that's going to cost you around $350, but you're still saving money in the long run.
Okay, so what's next?
So if you want a more budget-friendly option, because we mentioned, you know, that one is in that $300 price range. We found this one on Amazon. This is under $60.
Oh,
it's pretty incredible.
That's
we
a
have
steal.
one here. Both of these have a flexible silicone mold. I'm sure when you saw
I like how it has a crown jewel on top. The princess is here.
And this one also has, I think if we turn it this way, you can see it's like got a flexible mold, and it also, it molds to your face, and it has 7 different lights to help target other skin.
7 different lights.
7 different lights.
Each of them does their own thing.
Maybe just don't leave it on the mannequin, because this would scare me waking up.
This one I think looks a little more user-friendly, right? So this is a Solar Wave 4-in-1 wand. And what's great about this is a Good Morning America favorite. We get a lot of great feedback about this. It's also a celebrity favorite because it's really easy. I mean, you guys travel a lot for work and for fun, right? You can just throw it in your bag. It's portable, efficient. You can, reviewers say they get glowing skin in just 2 weeks from this because it's using that red light therapy, but also galvanic therapies, and there's heat in there. So it's really doing so much good stuff for your skin.
Use it on the subway. It's not the weirdest thing people will see.
That's right, and this is a more budget-friendly option. This uses LED light therapy. This is Revelant from Skin Gym. And what's great about this, it has blue light therapy for acne, it has red for anti-aging, and green for calming irritation. This one is under $80. We found it at Nordstrom, but I really want to get to this one from Therabody, because this is something, just hold that down to turn it on. This is from Therabody. It is a depuffing wand, you guys.
Wow.
So you can use cold therapy or heat therapy. Go ahead and try that out on your hand.
Oh, yeah.
That's great for those under eye circles if you've had a salty dinner, or if you've cried a lot of tears of joy. So this is great. So we also
cry
have
a lot.
great
I need
discounts
this.
on these as well.
All right, Lori B, and you can shop all these items. Just check out the QR code on your screen, and Lori B will be back tomorrow with us.
Cry tears of joy.
Welcome back to GMA, live from New York City.
And we are back with McKinnon and Andy Samberg here to talk about their new movie, The Roses. Welcome.
The love is real.
Spicy.
They just gave us a great idea for a skit as well.
Sorry about that.
So we all remember the classic War of the Roses. How is this one different?
Well, look, you know, it's Tony McNamara, who is one of our greatest screenwriters, the favorite.
Poor Things.
Yeah. Poor Things.
The great.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly. So it's like the tone is different. The themes are similar. It's just, it's a complete reimagining, and it's so funny. You guys. It's so funny. I'm sorry, it is. I saw it. I loved it. It's so funny.
That's it. That's, I mean, great.
You agree that it's funny?
Oh, yeah. We're giving it the hard sell.
I don't even feel like you have to. If you're look at this, the cast is unbelievable.
It is a great cast.
It must be it must have been so fun to play in that sandbox.
There were a lot of comedians having fun. Great actor. I mean, Coleman, Benedict, these are like actor.
Yeah.
Amazing, and also so funny. And then you had a bunch of like comedians getting to like bask in that acting, and it was just so fun. We had a great time.
And you shot it in London, which is always fun. And there's a scene I remember from the original War of the Roses with Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. It's sort of a big dinner scene.
Yeah.
You guys have a similar scene. I know this is your own reimagining.
Yes.
But from what I heard, it was a fun one to shoot.
A great scene around a big dinner table, an homage to the first one, but obviously contextually different. This Roses is, it's much more about who gets to work in a relationship, especially once you have kids.
Yeah.
And that dynamic, I think, plays out in a lot of different ways.
We all know that dynamic on some level, and you even grew a beard for the part. We got to take a look at a clip.
Oh, good, yeah.
I gotta say, you guys don't seem great.
Yeah, very discordant energies here.
Right?
Yeah, right. That was intuitive, Barry.
Thanks, babe.
That was good.
So, how bad is it, Theo?
What? Everything's great.
Shaq's a monster success, and the kids are killing it. They won't actually let themselves stop a workout until they're dizzy and throwing up. So that's commitment. And I'm really loving it.
Yeah, but you are still a failure. Women don't like that.
Ooh, you are a very eccentric couple in this.
Can you feel the heat? It's tough to sit this far away from him.
Indeed.
There is electricity. If you can see it on a heat meter, it's just
like an 11.
You know, we really. There's something here. He knows it, and I know it. And one day, somehow, we shall consummate.
Wow, welcome to morning television.
I'm
See
kidding.
the roses.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, does it happen? Does it happen in the film? That is what we call a tease.
I mean,
Amy and
bare
Barry.
minimum off camera. Maximum?
Yeah.
Bare maximum? On camera.
I'm afraid to ask this question now, but I heard you took up a new hobby this summer.
Well, yeah, look, and we're switching gears here. We'll take some of the heat off. I've been gardening. I've been growing my own food for about 3 years. That's hot. Okay, the heat has shifted. No, you know, I've been growing my own food. The thing about growing your own food, if it's going well, you got to can it.
Oh.
You got to preserve it. You got to freeze it. So
you're growing and canning?
I'm looking out. I'm seeing, oh my God, these cucumbers. There's a ticking time bomb on these cucumbers. I got to pickle all this.
Right, pickling.
I'm pickling left and I'm pickling morning. I'm pickling night. How many pickles can I eat?
Oh
now?
my God.
Dill or bread and butter?
Pickles. Dill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm lacto fermenting. You know this. I'm not using vinegar. It's
Goes without
it's
saying.
salt.
I can understand why
it
the
ferments and
chemistry
grinds.
is.
You get it.
Yeah. Getting showing up to set 8 a.m. with pickle breath all over.
He loves it.
Andy, so I have a note here that you're a huge K-pop Demon Hunters fan.
That's right.
Gee, tell us about this fascination.
Well, it's the #1 movie in the country, guys.
Up until now.
Yeah, I watched it on the Netflix solo on my iPad. My wife was very confused what I was doing. But then I played her that Golden and it all made sense.
Yeah.
But I will say the fact that it's in theaters and it's a sing-along version, it does make me want to see some phone videos of those kids trying to hit the high notes and failing. I feel like that would be funny to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. I love that you shared your love.
Thank you.
For all of us to see. It's a nice way to start the day.
You shared a lot.
And Roses in theaters nationwide this Friday. Thanks for coming in.
Now with our series, My Kind of Town, with an emphasis on kind. We are going around the country finding hometown heroes who make their cities better places. And this morning, Will Gans is in Chicago. Good morning, Will.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Lawrence Hall, you guys. Lawrence Hall has been on a mission to uplift Chicago's youth and their families since right after the Civil War. But today they offer programs like mentorship, independent and transitional living facilities, and even creative arts therapy, some of which are on display behind me right now. And it's all to support their mission of spreading kindness right here in the Windy City. It's a city known for its rivalries. Cubs versus White Sox, deep dish versus everything else. And yet,
I think there is something about the Chicago community where you can meet someone and they're just always kind, they're open, they're, willing to help.
for 160 years, all of Chicago has agreed on one thing: Lawrence Hall and its mission to protect and uplift Chicago's youth and their families.
Our mission is empowering those who've experienced trauma by promoting healing, resilience, and community connection. And we serve 1,500 kids and families every year.
Offering programs ranging from a therapeutic day school to a child and family treatment center to foster care.
I was in the care of the state. You don't really know who is going to come in and out of your life, and it gets really hard to trust people, especially adults at that age.
But at Lawrence Hall, Joaquin says he was able to shift his focus from surviving one day at a time, and for the first time, he could visualize his future. Do you have a memory of your time as a youth at Lawrence Hall that was like a real bright spot?
Going to see the Lion King musical. Just because I don't think I would have ever had an opportunity like that before. But I do remember like just sitting down, looking up and just being like, whoa.
Joaquin is now on the board at Lawrence Hall.
It doesn't matter where you come from. It always just matters where you want to go and what you're going to do to get there.
Back now with Joaquin Williams. Joaquin, you said it was that trip to see The Lion King that really touched your heart as a youth here at Lawrence Hall?
It was. It was something that just stuck with me, you know, even as I gotten older, and something that I think is just really impactful.
Yeah.
Well,
our friends in the Pride Lands heard about you and heard about this story. And when Disney's The Lion King returns to Chicago's Cadillac Palace Theater in October, they want to hook you and the youth here up with a block of tickets to see The Lion King. How does that feel?
That feels amazing.
Not too bad, right?
Oh my God.
Talk about a circle of life moment. Am I right, everybody? Back to you guys in New York.
So deserving. So great to see the happiness of that crowd. Thank you, Will.
All right, the countdown is on to the New York City Marathon, and we know that there are a bunch of us, but Lori Bergamotto is one of our family that's training for her first marathon. We checked in to see how it's going.
First of all, you'll be able to do it. Secondly, you have to do it because you just put it all over national television.
Roughly 50 days in, only 70 more to go.
Just finished basically a 10K. Tried to go a little faster than I normally go. Weekend away, but the training never stops.
So a day in my life, it is a very full day. Woo! Look at her go.
And I'm doing now what's called a recovery run, just to keep my muscles in shape.
Being a mom, wife, and runner all have one thing in common. It starts with a single step.
Are you worried that like things around the house are gonna just be even more chaotic?
Chaos is our default.
Almost 8.5 miles, not easy. I'm giving myself some grace and a little time to stop.
And treating yourself along the way.
And I'm gonna run the next, finish strong, and maybe get a donut.
There we go. And Lori is here again now, and she's with running expert Megan Searfoss. And I want to point out, this is your first since having your third child.
Yes.
You've actually done a bunch of
I've done a
marathons.
few, yes.
This
but
is
it's been
not
a while.
your first rodeo. But with 3
Feels
kids,
like it sometimes.
With 3 kids, it's hard. It's hard to find the time. Our bodies change.
Oh, yes, Lara.
And it does take a village, obviously, to run a marathon. So how is that impacting the family?
So Nick, my husband, is pretty unflappable. He's been, really good about the scheduling and the training, but school starts for our family next week, and I think that's really going to ramp up everybody's busy schedules. And then with my 15-mile, 18-mile, 20-mile runs factored in, we'll see how that's going to go for Nick.
Right.
And
And that's what I want to ask Megan Searfoss. You are a running expert, and you've got great advice for Lori and for all of us who want to jump into the running game. And you say it is about creating a balance.
It totally is. And when you think about when Lori's thinking about doing and escalating her runs every week, we want to break it down a little bit smaller. And now that the kids are going back to school, you can do a little bit longer run during the week and then get those long runs in broken up every
Hold on,
other.
it must be time to get to the next question because my alarm went off. Apologies, everybody. All right, I'm going to get back to you, Lori, and ask you a little bit about your body.
Yeah.
How has it been holding up thus far?
Well, the old mare ain't what she once was.
Oh,
I'll tell
get
you that.
out of here. Get out of here.
No, I mean, so I'm going to be 47 next week. And it's been, like I said, I think about 6 years since I ran my last marathon. And I've had 3 kids now. And so it's hard. My knees hurt more than anything else. And I got a little crampy, but Megan told me, it's not just water, it's electrolytes, which have really helped.
Yep.
So, I need to work on, you said strength training, right? So we'll see. I mean, it's a lot of hard work to make this look so easy.
Yeah. and Lori, do you have any advice? Because as we get older, there is a little bit more pain in the joints. What advice do you have for those who want to start running, for those who are training?
So our bodies respond better to not too much, too fast, too soon. So a little more progressive building up would be better. Lori was a gymnast forever, so her knees are a little bit abused. And so adding some strength training in, even while she's here, just doing walking lunges and some squats and things like that will help your body adjust a little bit more.
So if you see me in the green room lunging, that's you know what's going on.
Ginger does it too. Ginger does it too.
I need to talk to Ginger.
Ginger's the one who told me, do it while you brush your teeth. It really
Good
does.
advice.
The strength training is everything. We are rooting for you.
Thank
you for the advice.
You're welcome.
Keep us posted on how the training is going.
I will.
And we'll be there for you on the sidelines. Guys, coming up, health and wellness expert Dr. Ian Smith is here to tell us about his new novel. It's the latest in his mystery series. Hey, Ian, we'll be back with him on GMA.
All right, back now with best-selling author Dr. Ian Smith. Many of his books have to do with health and wellness, but this morning he's here to talk about his new novel, the 5th installment of his Ash Kane mystery series called Beyond Midnight. Good to see you.
So good to see you guys.
I gotta say, it's so weird to sit down with you because we normally see you up, you're doing demos, health and fitness. Okay, so walk us through what is the inspiration behind this one.
Well, when I was a kid, my Aunt Lynn Cherry and I would share the greatest novels that were detective and mysteries, right? And so one of the things we always did is we loved reading late into the night, trying to get that next chapter in. So I'm inspired to try to write books that will keep you up late at night trying to find out what's happening. This case, of course, is based in Chicago. And with Chicago, you have to have corruption. That is the backbone of Chicago, right? And any good mystery has a murder. And so this case, Ash Kane is taking on a case of an undocumented worker who was found in Lake Michigan. And his nephew comes to Ash Kane and says, my uncle could not have drowned in Lake Michigan. He doesn't even like to swim. He's afraid of water. And so Ash, of course, who never wants to take on cases because he wants to play golf, takes on the case, and we go through the streets of Chicago and figure out what happened.
You gave me a flashback there. I used to read at night with my parents as a little kid. We'd always read chapter books, and it was such a fun part of growing up. When it comes to Ash, is he based on someone? Like, is there maybe a little bit of Dr. Ian in there?
Well, I would say Ash Kane is who I would like to be if I came back for another life. I mean, he is, he's a golfer. He has a cool car collection. He has swag. He's fearless, right? He's handsome. All the things I would like to be one day would be Ash Kane. But also, he fights for justice. What I like about Ash is he is a fearless fighter for justice. So he's never afraid to take on anything that comes his way to get the right answer. Even if you ask him to stop, Ash keeps going.
Okay, so this is book 29. Do I have that right?
Yes,
book 29. I mean, I would get...
You're aging me.
I would get tired after one. I'm very impressed. I'd run out of ideas. I mean, what has the writing process been like, and how have you evolved as a writer?
You know, I love writing. Writing to me is like breathing. And I have a man cave. I write in my man cave where a lot of stuff gets done.
What's in that man cave?
In my man, there are a lot of things my wife does not want, a lot of paintings that cannot go into the main house, they go into my man cave. But just my creature comforts that I have there.
Is that the man cave right there?
That's the man cave, that's me writing right there.
It's nicer than I thought it would be, to be honest.
It's not bad.
No shade.
And my best friend from college painted that line that,
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, and my reunion class pictures. But anyway, so I write in there. I love writing late at night. I'm typically streaming Kiss FM from LA, believe it or not. I have my thing that I do, right? And so I'm writing, I'm singing, I'm dancing. And but I first start writing in my head. I never touch a keyboard until I have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then I can sit and write, because I'm a fast typist, so then I can kind of go to work.
And is that because if you sit down, once you're there, if you don't have the idea, it's not going to come out?
Well, I've never had a writer's block. And I think the reason is because, not that I'm great, is because my style is that I already see my books like a movie or a TV show. I have a very cinematic way. And when you read my books, I want you to be very sensory overloaded. So you hear it, you smell it, you see Chicago, you can taste all the food that I'm talking about. And I think that goes into how I write. It's very cinematic, and so it just kind of plays like a TV show or movie in my head.
We only have a few seconds left, but is there any genre you'd like to try?
Absolutely.
A new one.
Romance.
Romance.
And I've already written it, and I'm waiting to publish it, but I love love stories. Since I was a kid, I've loved love stories.
From Alone in the Man Cave, you write the romance novel.
All right, stay tuned. We so appreciate it. Good to have you with us. And Beyond Midnight is out tomorrow.
Look who is back on the couch. Welcome to coming in today. Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a good day.